maths lesson for today. Now, our LA is what is a fraction? Now, I know that we've already done some work on non-unit and unit fractions yesterday, but now we're going to look at what exactly is a fraction. So as always, we've got some starter questions. Question 1, it says, what fractions of these are each colour? And remember, we've got yellow, red and green. And remember, our denominator is how many equal parts are there? And then our numerator is how many of the specific colour there are. So remember, numerator and denominator at the bottom. Number 2, which of the fractions above are unit fractions? And then number 3, which of the fractions above are non-unit fractions? So I'll give you a clue. Remember, a unit fraction is when the number 1 is as the numerator, and any other numerator, maybe 2, 3 or 4, is a non-unit fraction. So guys, pause the video and give these a go. Okay, let's see some of the answers then. So what fractions of the cubes are each colour? So firstly, for my denominator, because my denominator is the easiest one, I need to find out how many equal parts there are. Well, I know that there are 7, so I'm going to put 7 in my denominator. But then really I could do a bit of a trick here, because I know that each of these, I'm looking at the same representation here, so I can put 7 as my denominator for each of them. Nice and easy. And then next, my numerator, so how many of the specific colours, so I've got yellow. How many yellows are there? Well, I know that there's 4 yellows. How many reds? There's 2 reds, and then there's only 1 green. And then now it says, which of the fractions above are unit fractions? Well, for the unit fractions, it is the green, because I've only got a 1 as my unit fraction. And then number 3, which of the fractions above are non-unit fractions? Well, a non-unit fraction is any other fraction that hasn't got 1 as the numerator. So that is yellow and red. So now let's get on with our actual lesson. So here it says, what fraction is being represented? And then it says there are how many equal parts altogether? So something out of something equal parts is shaded, and then I want you to put the fraction in there, and then is it a unit fraction or is it a non-unit fraction? Pause the video and give these a go. Okay, then let's see. So what fraction is being represented? Well, I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts altogether. That's how many there are. And then I know that 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts is shaded, because there's only one a different colour. So therefore, my numerator is going to be 1 and my denominator is going to be 5. So that makes it 1/5 of the shape is shaded. And now, is it a unit fraction or a non-unit fraction? Well, as it has got a 1 as my numerator, that means it is a unit fraction. So now the next one, what fraction are shaded red? So the same again, how many equal parts are there? How many equal parts shaded red? And then I want a fraction here, and then is it a unit fraction or is it a non-unit fraction? Pause the video and give this one a go. Okay, so let's see, what fraction are shaded red? Well, I know that there are 4 equal parts altogether, and then I know that there are 1, 2, 3 out of 4 equal parts that are shaded red, so therefore 3/4 of the shapes are shaded red. Remember, we don't say 3/4. When it's a 4, it's a quarter, so 3/4 of the shapes are shaded red. And then, because my numerator is more than 1, it's definitely not a 1 there, it is then a non-unit fraction. So now, which of these representations shows 1/4 and why? So have a look at each of these representations. Which of these show a quarter? What you could even do, if you're doing this on your exercise book, you could just write number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you could either put a tick next to question 1 if you think it next to the number 1, if you think that this shows 1/4, or you could put a cross, and you can see if you get the same ones as me. So pause the video, guys, and have a think. Okay, then let's see. So which of these representations shows a quarter? And then it says why. Well, let's see. On my first one, so I've got 1 shaded in, and then altogether I've got 4. So I represent that as 1 over 4, or as a quarter. So that is correct. My next one, well, I've got 1 shaded in, so that would be my numerator. But then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 1 over 5, or 1/5. And remember, this question is asking which of these representations shows a quarter. So that is incorrect. With this one, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded, so that would be 4. And I've got 5 altogether, so that would be 4/5. So again, that one's not really correct, is it? And we see there, we've got 5, not correct. So now this one, well, so we've got 1 shaded in, but then we've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 parts. But remember, we've got to look at 4 equal parts. So when we're looking at these circles, we've got, these are all the same size. So therefore, these are 4 equal parts. This one is not equal because we've got a big square here, we've got a really small rectangle, we've got an even smaller rectangle here, and we've got a bigger rectangle than that. So therefore, this is not 4 equal parts. So therefore, this is not even a quarter of the shape because you can't do it. So let's see, you can see it's highlighting that, incorrect. So now question 5. Now this one is a bit of a tricky one. And I think that Tiny is going to come, and he has put that this one is incorrect. But all you need to do is, if I split this one, this shape, into 4 equal parts, you can see I've got my dotted line, I split it into 4 equal parts. Just because the lines aren't there does not mean that this is still not a quarter. So if I put my lines here, I've then got 1 shaded in, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. It is therefore actually correct. We've got to be really careful when we do draw in our lines, because remember, they have got to be equal parts. Now on to the next one. Well, this one's a bit quite easy. We've got 1 shaded in, 4 altogether, definitely correct. Next, with our triangles, these are all equilateral triangles, which means that they are all the same size. So I've got 1 shaded in, and I've got 4 altogether, so this one is correct. And then finally, well, again, this circle is very big. These are not 4 equal parts, so therefore this one is incorrect. So now, guys, it's your turn. So have a go on the questions 1 to 4 on the worksheet. So pause the video and come back to me once you've finished. Okay, so now we have got a number line, and we're going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can see just at the bottom here, they've been represented in our circles. So we've got 2 circles, we've got 3 for 3, 4 for 4, and 5 for 5. And now we're going to be focusing on this section, so the 0 to 1. Now, every single fraction that we are learning about, so that might be 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4/5, they are all less than 1. They are all in this section. So it's really important to understand that. So that is why we are zooming this in, and that is why we look at our fractions in between this number line. And we're going to split this up into, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now each of these are equal, so we know that we're splitting them up perfectly. And to represent that in our circle, I've split this up into 4 equal parts. So now, if I want to know my first part, what would I need to shade in to this shape? Well, you can see it's only 1 part, so therefore I would only shade in 1 of the quarters. So therefore I represent that as 1, because it's 1 shaded in, and 4 altogether. Next, so I've got 2 equal parts now, so I'm going to shade in 2 of the parts, and then as my numerator I've got 2 shaded in, and I've got 4 altogether. And I'm sure that you can all work this one out. As our third part, we've got 1, 2, 3 equal parts, so therefore I'm going to shade in 3, and it will be 3 quarters. And then for my final one, I've got my number 1. To work this out, well, technically it actually would be 4/4, so I'd have 4/4, and I would shade it all in for one whole. And this would be 4/4. So now it says, what fraction is the arrow pointing to? Now on this one, instead of splitting up into 4 equal parts, we've actually split it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. What fraction is the arrow pointing to? Now remember, our denominator is how many parts there are, and our numerator is asking what specific number is. Pause the video and have a think. Okay then, let's see. So again, as I've already said, it's split up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So that is my denominator. And then it's asking me what is the fraction pointing to. So it's 1, 2, 3 as my numerator. So it would be 3/5 or 3/5. Now it's on this one, I've now got 7 equal parts. Where would 6/7 be on this number line? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, well, let's see. So, well, I know that this is 7 as it's my denominator. All I need to do is look at my numerator and look at 6. So I can count along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6/7 will go just on this line here. So now guys, have a go at the rest of the worksheet. That is the end of our video. Make sure you upload this to Teams, and I'll see you in the next one.